Laynie and welcome to my channel. If you are new here, I'm so glad you decided to stop by and hang out with me. You guys, today's video is exciting. I'm going to be reviewing the new Juvia's Place foundation, but not only their foundation, their concealer, their setting powder, and also a highlighter. So if you want to see a basically full face of Juvia's Place, then just keep watching. And before we dive on into the video, let's do the question of the day. Today's question of the day is, you guys, what are you looking forward to this week? Tell me something you are looking forward to this week and leave it down below. I'm going to have to think about this for a second. I don't know if I have anything I'm okay. Nope. I thought of something. See, if we take a moment to think about something good in our lives, we can usually come up with something. Something I'm looking forward to this week is we are going to get to hang out with my sister-in-law and her boyfriend. We haven't seen them in a little while, and we're all going to go hang out. I think we're going to go fishing. I think that'll be on the agenda, but I'll definitely be glad to see them. So definitely leave down below something you are looking forward to this week. Now, we have lots to chat about with this foundation, but let's get to applying it. I think today I'm going to switch it up and go in with the No Problem Essence Primer by Touch and Soul. Okay, I haven't tried this yet, but I'm really excited. We just got this in boxing charm, and wow, it really is an essence. It feels exactly like water. Oh, yep. It will come out of the bottom if you tilt it upside down. It feels really nice, though. This truly feels like you're just putting water on your skin. So I've been wearing this foundation for, I think, about 4 days now, because I really wanted to wear it, give it a try, see what I really think for you guys. So this foundation comes in at $20. I am in the shade 720 Bali. I actually wish I would have gone up a little bit. I was kind of having a hard time figuring out what my perfect shade match is. This definitely works. I wish I would have gone just a little bit warmer toned since it is summertime and I'm hoping to get a little color this summer. So it's not horrible, but it's definitely more my winter shade than my summer shade. This foundation is supposed to create a second skin with a soft, natural matte finish. And it's supposed to be extremely high coverage, so that is why I just dotted it instead of going in with a whole bunch. This will be my brush side, going in with my Japanese foundation brush. See, the color is not bad at all. I just wish for summer I would have gone a little bit, just a little bit darker. But honestly, like, pretty right on right now. The coverage is definitely there. The foundation is extremely blendable. You don't have to really work to blend it into the skin, and I definitely feel like it has a nice dry time. It doesn't dry down too quickly. Some matte foundations dry down so fast that they kind of get stuck where you place them and you're like, oh no, what do I do now? But as you can tell, you guys, look. Going in with a pea-size amount on this side. I've been using this more with a brush than a sponge. Going in with my Believe Beauty sponge. It is dampened. Even with the sponge, look at the coverage. Wow. So I will not speed up this portion so you guys can see real time how long it takes me to blend this into the skin. I personally have been loving a brush application. I just feel like it's easier because I've been going in with a brush and then pouncing it out with the sponge, and I just feel like that gives you the best coverage, the best look, and you're not wasting product. It's definitely been my go-to. The application is not bad with the sponge at all, but I just feel like it's a little bit patchier with the sponge than with the brush. And it also is just kind of the shape of this sponge makes it a little bit more difficult. Sometimes the little corners will make marks. But that was pretty darn quick for a sponge that is a little bit more on the difficult side. The coverage is still extremely there. It's kind of crazy. I actually feel like both sides look really similar, and a lot of times you can kind of tell the difference between the brush side and the sponge side, but not really with this foundation. I think I like the brush side just barely more. I see a little patchiness through here, but what I've been doing is then going in with the sponge to really push it into the skin. So I'm pretty darn impressed with that. I am really impressed with the foundation. I really agree with all the claims. I do feel like it's very skin-like. It really is that second skin appearance. It lays on the skin nicely, and it doesn't look like just a layer of foundation on top of the skin. I also feel like the coverage is so extreme, but in a really nice way. If you get a color that is correct for you, I feel like, again, it really does pull off that second skin look. I agree with the soft matte. It is not a super flat, stark matte foundation. It has that nice kind of skin, just like a soft satin effect when you turn your head and the light hits it. The one thing I can say that I've noticed when I've been working with this foundation, if I let it sit for a while I am doing my eyeshadow, for example, I will get a bit of creasing that I need to pat out in the forehead. So if fine lines are a big concern for you, I'm not sure how well this would work. I don't really get the laugh line marks. I don't really have those. But I do feel like this could be a foundation that will kind of settle into those if you do struggle with the laugh lines. Overall, I think the foundation is really, really good for a $20 foundation. I mean, you really cannot beat the coverage. I think it just depends on what you're looking for. I even think this would work for dry skin if you are dry skin and you like matte foundations, because I feel like you could take those extra steps to boost the radiance. A radiant primer, a radiant setting spray, highlighter, you could do those things to give yourself the added glow, because I don't feel like this is a harsh matte at all. I'm getting a bit of a later start today. It is 3 o'clock already, but I still want to show you guys. I'm sure I'll still wear it for 6 to 7 hours. The products that I'm not super impressed with are the next ones I am going to show you, because I kind of wanted to do basically a full face. I also picked up their concealer. This is a $14 concealer, and it is jumbo sized, you guys. I mean, this is a big honkin' concealer. Very much reminds me of the Born This Way. I mean, a little bit smaller, but a very large, not your typical size concealer. I was really having trouble, again, picking out my shade with the concealers. I think even more than foundations. You guys, wait till you see this. But this concealer, I'm just going to be real with you, is not my favorite. Look at how bright I went. Oh, that's bright. When you first apply it, you feel like, wow, like that's a lot of coverage. But I feel like this is a kind of concealer that really shears out as you blend it in. I'm doing the Jackie Aina trick. I'm going to let it sit there for just a little bit to try to build up some of the coverage. I don't feel like I suffer with super dark under eyes, but even with the under eyes I do get some darkness, and I didn't feel like it was covering it how I would like. It's supposed to be a creamy, radiant concealer, and I definitely agree with that. It's kind of a nice counterpart to the foundation because it does have a bit more of that satin finish. So if you are dry, I feel like this would give you more of the effect you would like. I wish I would have gone a little darker on the concealer. I love a brightening effect, but it's a little too bright. I wore this concealer last night with my Becca Under Eye Brightener, and by the end of the night I had a lot of creasing, and that was still with setting it with powder. So I'm not going to use the Under Eye Brightener today to see how it wears. It's definitely brighter and it's like a medium coverage, but I feel like right in here, for some reason this concealer, it really doesn't hide in how sunken in this area of my under eye is. I don't know, I just feel like for some reason this kind of accentuates that. I love the packaging, I love the doe foot applicator, I love the size of it, I love the price tag, I love the shade range. I don't know, there's just something about the coverage that just isn't there for me, and maybe it's just the way it wears on my skin. Maybe it is because I'm not used to wearing a radiant concealer, that maybe it's the light kind of picking up that little bit of a hollow area here. I'm not sure. I'm not going to let this side sit as long so you can see what the coverage is like. I definitely feel like when you let it sit there a little bit, it does improve the coverage. Maybe if I would have gotten a different color, I would like it a bit more. It's just so light, and that's my fault. I picked the wrong shade. The one thing I've noticed too is when I've tried to build up this area, it's not really buildable. It just seems like one of those, it doesn't matter how much you put, the coverage kind of stays the same. The second layer definitely helps, but again, it's still, I don't really think on camera it's picking up as much as it does in person. But it dries down really pretty, so it's not the worst concealer I've ever used at all. I just wanted to point out that it's not my absolute favorite. The next thing I did pick up was their new setting powder. This is brand new. I got the shade White Sand. This is only $12, so pretty darn affordable. I don't feel like you get a lot of product in there. It is a little bit on the smaller side. I don't even think it says how many ounces it is. It's supposed to brighten and hold makeup in place. I do not like this powder. It's very finely milled, and I don't know how to describe this, but there's something about when it goes on, when it applies, it almost reminds me of a powder that is damp. Like, I really don't know how to describe it. I feel like this really makes a cakey appearance to the other products. Because without the powder, I don't feel like the foundation looks cakey. I don't feel like the concealer looks cakey. But there's just something about this powder that looks kind of chunky, cakey on my skin. It just makes everything look heavier on the skin. That is what I've noticed. It just really makes everything look heavier and cakier on the skin. I've been using this ColourPop medium blur powder to set the rest of my face because I feel like by the time I'm done with the concealer and the light powder, I look a little washed out. This powder, though, I feel like pairs beautifully over top. It does not make it look cakey or chunky or thick or heavy on the skin. It really blends into it beautifully. Let me bring you guys in real close, and then I'm going to go off camera, do the rest of my makeup, and I'll check back in with you. So here's what the skin is looking like without anything else on. See, I feel like here where I put the ColourPop powder looks really pretty, but then here just looks a little heavy from that powder. Okay, I'm back, and I decided to go with a real basic face today. All I put on was some bronzer. I didn't put on any blush, no highlight, nothing. I didn't put on any setting spray either. I can tell you I have been loving this foundation with the Iconic London Illuminating Setting Spray. Oh my gosh, it looks so beautiful. So if you are hesitant to wear this foundation because it is matte, I tell you what, it pairs beautifully with a Radiant Setting Spray. Now, the one thing I will say is I did pick up a highlighter by them, and I'm really disappointed in them. For my eyes today, I did go in with their Juvia's Place, the Warrior palette, and the formula is amazing. The pigmentation, the wear, everything. I couldn't speak highly enough of their eyeshadows. They are so good. I was really hoping that the highlighter would wear a lot like their foiled eyeshadows because they do foiled eyeshadows beautifully. I got the lightest shade in their loose highlighter. This is Nefertiti. You guys, I'm super disappointed. I mean, it's really finely milled. It looks really beautiful, but this is the lightest shade. It's so dark on me. I think I could get away with wearing it on the body because on my hand it doesn't look too bad, but on the face it leaves a cast. Like, you can see the cast from the front. So that was very disappointing because I do think, like, it's really pretty. Honestly, I thought it would be more high impact than it is. I think this would be a beautiful body highlighter, but I really thought it would be much more like their foiled eyeshadows. Let me just swatch one. Very similar color, but this one is just so much more light catching, and it's just so creamy and beautiful. This one is a little bit more dry. It is soft, but it is a little bit more dry. Not as much. The other thing I wanted to point out is the one foundation I have in my stash that reminds me of the Juvia's Place is this Rimmel Stay Matte. If you are balling on a budget, I actually think this is very similar to the Juvia's Place. And I think this is like a $5 foundation, maybe $8. There's something about the texture, the way it sits on the skin. I do think the Juvia's Place is a bit more skin-like. This one you have to work a little bit more to make it look like a second skin, but there's something about this formula and the pigmentation that really reminds me of the Juvia's. Let me just put a little bit of Juvia's next to it. I don't know if on camera, but there's just something about the way they sit on the skin that really is similar. So if Juvia's Place is still too expensive for your budget, then I really think you might like this Rimmel Stay Matte Foundation, and it's very, very affordable. You can get it, I believe, at Walmart, CVS, it's drugstore. It's very affordable, and it has really extreme coverage for a drugstore foundation. So I've been wearing it for probably about an hour now, and in natural lighting on my phone, it looks pretty on the skin, and the coverage is really nice. The only area I'm not thrilled with, like I said, is through here. It looks a little heavy because of that setting powder. But other than that, I think it looks really, really nice. Okay guys, I am back, and I have now been wearing it for, let me see how many hours. Let me think for a second. 8 hours, and I just want to say I have not been kind to this foundation in the 8 hours. I've been pretty rough with it compared to usual. Usually, you know, I try not to touch my face too much, kind of cautious with the foundation situation, but today I was just living my life, you guys, just living my life. I snuggled my doggy aggressively many times, so I have worn off a lot of foundation, mainly on the side of the face. I also had pizza for dinner, which I had to wipe my mouth off several times, a lot of times right in here, so I have worn off basically all of the foundation right in here. But I want to let you guys know, like I said, I have worn this foundation for like 4 days in a row now, and honestly, all my other days the foundation wore really, really well. I really think today was just me going extra hard on my face and not being cautious at all. Where it has stayed on, it looks really nice through here. The coverage is still really, really good through the cheek area. The concealer is just not my favorite, you guys. I'm definitely getting creasing around the eyes. It looks very cakey right here and right here. And honestly, 8 hours is not like a crazy wear time. Like, I haven't gone above and beyond. I do think this is a foundation, though, you could easily fix up, pat it out with a beauty blender, bring a little powder compact with you, kind of buff some stuff out, because it does wear my oils pretty well. Like, I don't look extra shiny anywhere. So that part I'm impressed with. I do really like this foundation. I think the price tag is really good. I think the shade range is excellent. Like I said, the concealer is not my favorite. I definitely think if you love Juvia's, which honestly their eyeshadows are thebomb.com. So if you're like a big Juvia's fan and you want a affordable foundation with a good shade range, I really think it is worth giving the foundation a go. What I wouldn't really recommend is the concealer and powder. I just feel like I've used things that are better. Juvia's Place does not allow returns, and I did not realize that until after I placed my order, which kind of stinks because I don't see myself reaching for this concealer or this powder. Like, I'm going to have to force myself to use it up because I don't want to waste that money. So, yeah, that kind of stinks. Buy it from Ulta. They have a great return policy. But, yeah, that's everything. And now let's do my shout-out of the day. Today's shout-out of the day is Melly Bean. She commented on my recent Boxy Luxe unboxing and giveaway video and said, hashtag I love my Lash family. I think you're so great and so positive and one of my favorite influencers. Oh my gosh, Melly, that is literally the nicest thing ever. Thank you so much for spreading kindness and being a part of the Lash fam. I'm seriously so glad that you are here. Thank you so much. And yeah, guys, that's everything. I'm really tired. It's almost midnight now. I need to go to sleep. So yeah, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. I would love, love, love for you to be a part of the Lash fam. And as always, please try to stay positive, because at the end of the day, that is truly all we can try to do. Thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful day.